number 2 here. So it says read the section. Don't worry about that. Let's write down connections you can make between amplitude, wavelength, frequency, period, and waves. So what are just some connections we make to these? So the first connection is amplitude is independent of period, frequency, and wavelength. So, in other words, your amplitude is not affected by these other things. So, doesn't matter what your wavelength is, your amplitude will stay the same. Doesn't matter what your period is, your amplitude will stay the same. Amplitude is independent of those things. Yes? This is Notes 3A. It's the one that's got all the definitions on the front. So yours is actually on the front page of that notes. So like this number here is on the front page. It's on the back page of mine. But it's same questions. Okay, so that's the first connection to make. Amplitude's independent of those things. Here's the second connection to make. So, period I'm trying to make sure I get the connections right and don't tell you the wrong thing. Sometimes I have to rework them out in my head. Period is inversely proportional to frequency. That means if you increase your period, you decrease the frequency. And this should make sense. Period is how long it takes to make one wave, and frequency is how often the waves happen. So if you take longer to make a wave, the waves happen less often. Okay. All right, next one. Frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So if you increase the frequency, you decrease the wavelength. That makes sense too. If you have the waves happen more often, they get closer together, and that's what wavelength is. Wavelength is how far apart they are. One last one, and then I'll finish you up. Almost done here. Last thing is period and wavelength are directly proportional. So longer period is a longer wavelength. So, all I need you to do for next time, because you should be, and you can just cross out B. All I need for you to do next time, I want you to do these 3 questions, just the 3 concept checks, that's it. Yeah, put the yellow sheets in the back. Yes. Here, I'll write it down. Do I have any what? There's some paper towels in the back.